that. So there are 3 different categories of gifts. You have the motivational gifts, which is what we're going to talk about in this video. You also have the manifestation gifts, and then you have the 5-fold ministry gifts. So I'm going to make a video for each set of those gifts, but today we're going to talk about the motivational gifts. So what are the motivational gifts? Okay, you can find the motivational gifts in Romans 12, 4 through 8. So I'm going to read that really quick. Having then gifts differing according to the grace that is given to us, whether prophecy, let us prophesy according to the portion of faith, or ministry, let us wait on our ministering, on he that teacheth, on teaching, or he that exhorteth, on exhortation. He that giveth, let him do it with simplicity. He that ruleth, with diligence, and he that showeth mercy, with cheerfulness. Okay, so you have seven different motivational gifts. And those gifts are kind of like personality traits, right? They're called the motivational gifts because they are what motivate your actions. It's like the lens in which you see everything through and therefore act in a certain way that aligns with how you view everything. So, for example, I'm going to start with prophecy. Okay, there is a manifestation gift of prophecy, and there's also a 5-fold office of the prophet. We're not talking about either of those right now. We're talking about the motivational gift of prophecy. So somebody with the motivational gift of prophecy, meaning it's like the lens in which they filter the world through, they see very black and white. These people are very sensitive to sin, and they have a strong sense of right and wrong. So people who have that lens, they're really sensitive to sin. There's not a lot of gray area for them. Things are like obviously sin or obviously okay. And then whenever they do see sin, it's like this need to like correct it, right? Then you have the motivational gift of serving. So a person with a motivational gift of serving is driven to demonstrate love by meeting practical needs. So these people, they automatically just jump in and start helping, right? So they'll see like a mess that needs to be cleaned and they automatically start cleaning. They see that chairs need to be picked up after church service and they'll jump in and start picking up the chairs. It's like obvious to them whenever there's a practical need that needs to be met. It's like obvious to them that need needs to be met, and they jump in and they do it. I think about my husband. He's very much wired like this, and I'm actually not. Serving is not my primary motivational gift. And so for me, whenever there is something that needs to be like, just for like an example, let's say at church, if something needs to be cleaned up or whatever, I might not always think firsthand like, oh, I need to go clean that up. I'm more of an exhortation person. So I tend to be like, oh, you guys are doing a great job. Now, do we still serve even if our motivational gift isn't serving? Of course, we're still supposed to serve no matter what. But for people with that motivational gift, it just comes natural to them. That's all. Okay, and by the way, everyone has a primary motivational gift, although you can still have like secondary gifts also, or, you know, one that comes in close second, or even like a top 3. But I would say that everyone has one that's like their primary motivational gift. Okay, so we talked about prophecy, serving, and now teaching. The motivational gift of teaching. So a person with this gift is passionate about teaching and about discovering and validating truth. They're really concerned with accuracy of information, especially church doctrine. And a lot of times they're gifted with research ability. So people who are teachers, they want to know the details. They want to break down the scripture. They want to know what the root of the words are. They want to teach with accuracy. They have a love and a passion for truth, and they don't want to get it, they don't want the teaching to get murky. They don't want it to have any falseness in it. They want to make things clear. And like I said, a lot of times are gifted in research and searching out the scriptures. So that is the teaching gift, motivational gift of teaching. But there are also 5-fold teachers, which is someone who holds the office of a 5-fold teacher. And once again, we'll get into that later. Okay, so then you have exhortation. Exhortation, I would say, is my primary motivational gift. A person with this gift wants to see other believers grow in their spiritual maturity. Yes, these people are like spiritual cheerleaders. They want to see you grow in intimacy with Christ. They want to see you mature. They often will naturally start to disciple other people and help them grow in their walk. And a lot of times you'll see these people involved with ministries in counseling and teaching as well. So exhortation, or people with the motivational gift of exhortation are very encouraging people. Like I said, they cheer you on. They're like spiritual cheerleaders. So that's a fun gift. Okay, now the gift of giving. This is another motivational gift. So someone with a motivational gift of giving, they want to meet, they want to use financial resources wisely in order to meet the needs of others. These people are generally very generous. I wouldn't say generally. If you have the gift of giving, you're very generous. That just comes natural to you. And you look at the physical needs, financial or whatever, and you want to meet those needs by covering the cost, So got that. Okay. And that's really important to have, by the way. We need people to financially support ministries. We need people to financially back the work of God. That is just as important as the ministries themselves, is funding the ministries. So it's very important. Okay. So then you have the gift of organizing. Some people call it leadership. Or ruling, whatever, organizing, ruling, leadership, it's all the same thing. So the motivational gift of organizing, these people are able to accomplish tasks and solve problems through analysis and delegation. So these people are really good with assigning things to other people based on their abilities, right? And delegating tasks to who could best carry them out. Let's see. Okay. So yes, people with that gift of organizing, they just are natural leaders. They naturally are able to assign different tasks to person and analyze the situation and figure out how to best accomplish the task at hand. Okay, then you have, lastly, the gift of mercy, and that is such a powerful gift. So the motivational gift of mercy. Okay, someone with this gift is sensitive to the emotional needs of others. They are drawn to people in need, and they seek to demonstrate compassion, understanding, and love to them. People with this gift, they want to alleviate the pain of others. They have a lot of empathy, and they see suffering. They want to help remove that suffering. So a lot of times you'll see people with a gift of mercy functioning in gifts of healing, and which is one of the manifestation gifts we'll get into later. But yeah, these people are very compassionate. They have a lens of compassion. And it's interesting because, we're all wired differently. And when you have the lens that's like of mercy, right? When you have that motivational gift and you see through the eyes of compassion, sometimes somebody who has more of that lens of prophecy, they might come off as like harsh. Or someone who has that motivational gift of prophecy, when they see someone walking in a mercy gift, they might think that, oh my gosh, they're soft, or, they need to call it the sin and all that. And it's not that either one is wrong. It's just that you have a different motivational gift. You see the world through a different lens, and therefore your priorities might be different. That doesn't make one right or one wrong, but it's just how we're wired, and we need each gift, right? That's how we balance each other out. Now, even if mercy is not your primary motivational gift, you still need to show mercy. We are still called to show mercy. And even if your primary gift isn't prophecy, you still cannot compromise truth. You still need to be sensitive to sin. You still can't condone sin just because you don't see as black and white as other people. You hear me? So this is all important. We still have to be balanced in every area, but it helps to have this understanding of these gifts so you can identify how you're wired, and so understand also how other people are wired. So instead of getting frustrated that they don't see things how you see it, you can actually appreciate that they are your balance, that they balance you out. So I'm going to give a quick example on how this might look, right? Just like a little demonstration, or not demonstration, just like a little example. So anyway, let's say that I had a cup of coffee, right? And I accidentally dropped that cup of coffee. I spilled it all over myself. Okay, somebody whose primary gift is prophecy, they might think, okay, well, there was a no food or drink rule. You shouldn't have had that coffee to begin with. So if I was like, let's just say I was at a church in like the sanctuary or something. Okay, there was like a no coffee or food or drink rule in there, and I spilled the coffee. They would think like, well, you were wrong. You were functioning. Not functioning, but anyway, you were acting contrary to how you should have been. So that would be more their lens that they would see the situation through. Somebody who has the gift of serving would automatically begin wiping up the mess. They would jump in and they would grab the paper towel, start wiping it, start mopping it, whatever needed to be done in that sense. Somebody with the gift of teaching, they would say something like, there are coffee cups that have lids, and if you use one of those, you probably wouldn't spill. So they would try to find, teach about how to do it better, right? Find the solution, tell you the best coffee cup, the best lid, whatever. So yes, just bringing teaching into the situation. Okay, someone with an exhortation gift, they would be encouraging, right? They'd say, oh, you know what, you spilled your coffee, but you still went to church. You didn't leave. You still stayed for the message. That's awesome. We all mess up. It's not a big deal. And you know what? I believe that God is going to use that spilled coffee for his good, or for your good and his glory. He's going to turn that situation around somehow, right? So they are optimistic and they're encouraging. Somebody with the gift of giving would go buy you a new coffee. Or say you broke your mug, maybe buy you a new mug. They look for that physical need that needs to be met through finances. Someone who has the gift of organizing or leading, they start delegating tasks. So they would say, you go grab the towels. And then, hey, can you go put up that no food or drink sign so people can see it better? And they would start to, delegate the tasks. And then somebody with the gift of mercy, they would want to ease the pain of the embarrassment. So they would say, I'm so sorry that happened to you. I don't think many people noticed. And, I've spilled coffee on myself a lot. It's nothing to be embarrassed about. And they would just be very compassionate. And like I said, trying to take that sting of embarrassment away from you, because it's your hurt is their hurt and they don't want you to hurt. So that was a quick rundown of the motivational gifts. I hope that was helpful. And my next video, I'm going to do the manifestation gifts. So I will see you then.